Hello friends and welcome to Figure Study, where we are delving back into Transformers Siege, because despite my aversion to getting anywhere near the vaguely new hotness, it's my channel and I just kind of make up the rules on the fly as I see fit, so yeah. Consistency! That's a thumbs up that you can barely see. Anyway, we're getting back to Siege with Skytread, or Flywheels. Take your pick. I'm going to call him Skytread because that's what this figure is called, and I never owned Flywheels as a kid. Though, funny enough, Flywheels was the only Duocon I ever had any exposure to as a kid. A friend of mine, I forget who, had him. I thought it was a neat gimmick. I liked how you just kind of stack the jet on top of the tank and be like, whoop, robot. Skytread is, again, a jet and a tank. And unlike Battletrap, he does not have, the individual components do not have individual robot modes. It's just tank, jet, combined robot. It's funny, I was really kind of unhappy with Skytread when I got mine because, as you may be aware, I got one of the busted ones where the hip was fused in place. Stupid Hasbro nonsense. I already ranted about that. Regardless, I now have a functional Skytread, and functional Skytread is awesome. Definitely, currently at least, my favorite of the Siege line of the figures that I have. Not to say that I think the other ones are bad, it's just Skytread's my favorite of the ones that I have so far. And I do have Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus and Shockwave, and I'll be getting to them eventually. And also, I still technically have Sideswipe and Cog, and now I'm not so sure if I want to get rid of either one of them, because Thu's video on Optimus Prime got me thinking that, yeah, Cog is pretty fun to just turn into weapons and accessorize everyone with, but I'm getting off track again. Skytread. We're talking about Skytread. And I just... So Skytread. As you can see, he is a tank and a jet, so Skytread. Or Fly Wheels. And these two alt modes, I think, are pretty great. The gun for the jet is kind of take it or leave it, but you can plug it onto the tank if you want to do that instead. Give it like a secondary gun, which, not too bad. I actually kind of dig the asymmetry there. You got options. Oh, where do we want to start? Well, since his name is Skytread, let's start with the sky. And this was the only component that I could mess around with the first version that I got, but it's very cool. I mean, there's some serious jank hanging off the bottom there, but still cool. I really like this burgundy color, too. There's just something about it that appeals to me, and that plus the sort of, not quite grayish, I guess faded would be the word I'm looking for. The slightly faded gold color works really well here. And it's in just the right spots. We've got a little bit up here, a little bit kind of lining the wings, lining the tail fins, and then a little bit for the intakes up top. And then, of course, this nice blue for the cockpit. It's like that's really all it takes. There's not really any other paint that's visible in vehicle mode. Like, you get a little bit here, but that's really more for robot mode. But I think it's fine. And like I said, this color combination works really well for me. It's a nicely shaped jet. And it's got these little bits sticking off there that could be guns. It could be, you don't know. You probably do. And as is typical for, I guess, every single Hasbro and Takara, I guess, figure that's come out in a main line in the past several years, there is oodles and oodles of textural detail in there. Lots of little panels and rivets. You can kind of see it looks like he has just one big flap going along the wing there. Even the inside of the weapon port has molded detail in it. That's kind of ridiculous, but I love it. Looks like it has little, could be guns, could be lights on the very front of the nose cone there. Well, not very front, but you know. Even the voids have molded detail. It is impressive in that regard. And then these, I guess, could be something. I mean, obviously it's the fists, but I don't know. Like, I just like to pretend that those aren't there. Still, it's simple, it's small, but it's cool for what it is. I like the sky part of Skytread. The tread part of Skytread I'm less fond of than the sky part, but I still think it works pretty well. It's, a tank. It's just kind of a boxy tank with a big old void in the back. I mean, yeah, it's not really functional. You can turn the gun that's like in one of the side ports if you decide to use that, but you can't really turn the gun here because it's barely plugged in. And I know if I wanted to, I could probably go in and like shave this down or shave this down, but I don't really care enough because, the gun sits well enough as it is right there, and it does make it appear like a tank. Can't really turn this, but you get the general idea. You got the treads on the bottom, box on top, and then a big gun. In this case, 2 big guns. I'll just remove this for now so we can get a look at a more traditional tank shape, and it's close enough. I feel like for a more traditional tank, like a more traditional tank, this should be sitting forward a little bit more. Not exactly in the center, but, it's fine. I mean, it's technically Cybertronian, though if that's Cybertronian, why does this look like a pretty much standard military jet? I don't know. But it's fine. It's fine for what it is. It's fine. And this is clearly the color differential between this guy is split between burgundy and brown as the primary colors, and this is the brown part. Kind of sucks that there's not more burgundy here, but I know that's kind of them following the original design. And the gun does add some. It's just the brown is kind of eh. And the brown plus the faded gold isn't as striking as the faded gold with the burgundy. It's okay. I mean, it's a box with treads. Nicely detailed treads, actually. There are tiny, tiny rivets. Like, those are super tiny rivets that are molded onto those wheels. And lots of other nice molded mechanical looking detail all around there. It's good. It is good. I'm not saying this is a bad figure overall. It's just, this is, in my mind, definitely the weaker of the 2 modes. But they do look good together. And you can stack them. It's not a solid thing, like you just bump that off there, but still, it's a cool little throwback that isn't really a throwback because you can't actually attach them, but whatever. Forget the semantics. All right, let's get this adjusted so that we can do our size comparisons and then move on to the real star of the show. So here we have the 2 vehicles with Siege Hound, and their, I guess, combined mass around deluxe size. Clearly, they are not individually deluxe size. Clearly. I guess technically these would qualify as legends. I don't know. I'm not really that big on size class designations. I'm more doing this for the benefit of anyone who might actually care. Can you tell how enthusiastic I am about it? I think, considering what he does, considering what he's based on, I think it's a good size for the vehicles. And, like I said, they don't actually peg in, they just kind of balance. But they're fun. They're fun for what they are. And here comes the duck tank to completely dwarf everything. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's move on to the robot mode. There we have Skytread in his robot mode, and I really enjoy that transformation. There's just something about the simplicity of the individual bits, particularly the tank, coupled with the way the jet kind of folds in and around to make this torso, and the way it all satisfyingly just kind of clamps together right at the end there. It's a good time. In terms of the coloring and color breakup, I don't hate it. By any means, I don't think it looks terrible. It's just, it does ring a little hollow to me. It just seems a little bland. You've got all this brown, which isn't a color that bothers me per se. There's just so much of it for the entirety of the arms, the entirety of the lower body, from the waist all the way down to the feet. And then you've got the gold accents, which do look good, but as I said, the gold accents on the brown don't work as well as they do on the burgundy. And unfortunately, the burgundy section only makes up the torso. And a lot of those gold elements that popped so well in the jet mode aren't even visible in robot mode. They're on his back. So you do miss out on a lot of that, which is a shame. I feel like if they had done a little bit more along here, that would have been nice. Maybe bring some burgundy into the limbs somewhere. Possibly bring some of the brown into the torso, but really I feel like there's enough brown. I feel like they could have balanced the color layout more. I know they're working off the G1 toy, and the G1 toy was very specific in how it sectioned off the color, but I feel like just a little bit here and there would have helped to pull all of this together. Again, not saying it's bad, not saying I don't like it, but it does seem like they could have done a little bit more to just make the colors overall look a little more cohesive. Though I do like how that light blue pops. You can't quite tell if my eyes are playing tricks on me. I feel like this thing might be a little out of focus, and if that is the case, my apologies. But overall, the silhouette looks good. There are a lot of little elements that when we get in closer to look at the details, I'll go over that I really like with this guy. It's just the color layout I'm not super keen on. But moving on to those details, a lot of this stuff is stuff that was visible in the tank mode, for the legs anyway. Get a little bit more in the thighs, a little bit more up here. I feel like these bits here, specifically the circles, are meant to be like lights or something like that. I feel like those maybe could have used a little paint. The arms have a nice shape to them. I don't know what these are supposed to be, but I kind of like these two little bits sticking off the top of the fist there. Some nice vent detail in the shoulder there. And there's some of that, yeah, it's just on the one side. There's some of that gold there. Could use a little more, and like I said, some burgundy, but it's not a huge problem. The forearms are gappy, though there is some surprisingly nice molded detail on the inside there. And, I get that people like to complain about the gaps in these figures, and yeah, there's some gaps in there and stuff too, and that is also molded, actually. But it's a deluxe figure, and that's where the fists fold up for the alt modes, so I really don't know what reasonably we could all expect from that, it's a deluxe. They're not going to have a separate panel to flip over and cover that. That's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, the midsection has some nice detail as well, and some of it is actually new. Like the plain cockpit section, this is all from the alt mode, but then these bits along the outside are actually new, which is nice. And nicely molded, if not painted. I also like these bits behind the head that are revealed when this bit of the jet comes down. It makes almost like air intakes over his shoulders or something. It's just a neat little detail. And you get some molding right up along there too. And then on the back, I know that there are options for folding out the wings. You can keep them folded out, you can fold them in. I prefer to fold them in just to give him a more traditional humanoid robot profile. But, the option's there. I do feel like they missed a beat by not having the tail able to fold up somehow or collapse up. It's not a huge issue, and it's not immediately noticeable when you're looking at him just standing there. But it would have been nice. But, I just complained about how unreasonable it is to want a panel to cover up the hole in the forearm, so yeah. They work with what they got. As for the face, I don't know how accurate that head and face are to G1 flywheels, but I think it looks good. It's still more brown, though I don't mind it with the head because I feel like it's important to have that stand out from the rest of the body, specifically the part that it's connected to. So yeah, having the brown for the head as it's attached to the torso like that, I get. I just really wish they had put more burgundy in some of this other stuff. But anyway, it does look good. The detailing is nice. I think the head is roughly shaped as the G1 is. The G1 character figure is. I really like the way the paint is done here. There's something very crisp about that silver face and that bright red visor. I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that just really pops nicely. But again, I just wish they had some more burgundy in the limbs. It would have been nice. bringing these in mostly because I had to use this for the tank mode, because without this, it's just kind of a box with treads on it. You've got his 2 guns. You can plug the tip of this in here and give him 1 big gun, which is fine. Personally, what I like to do, rather than giving him the 1 big gun or the 2 smaller guns, I like to give him the 1 gun as a pistol, and then attach this on either side, on the underside of the wing, and it gives him kind of like a communications antenna type thing. Though, actually, put this in his other hand to offset the to offset things a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's just what I like to do. I think it looks kind of neat. Sort of like he's both ready for a fight and ready to call for reinforcements, if necessary. And with this, I feel like with the weapons in place, like with the gun there, and I mean, if you wanted to, you could also give him like an arm cannon or do like a null ray thing or something like that. But I do feel like the addition of like even just this, just the burgundy down here, adds quite a bit, I think, to the way the color is separated. So yeah, it really would have benefited to have just a little bit in the arms and legs to mix things up. And I know I'm harping on that a lot, but it just seems like they really missed something by making this like a giant mass of brown. Anyway, let's move Skytread to the back there so that we can do our robot mode size comparisons. So here he is with Hound, and you can see they are deluxes. They're the same size. No surprises there. Though, here you can kind of see how the color distribution really does make a difference. Like, Hound, still very, very set in the way his colors are. He's green with a vengeance. Lots and lots of green on him. And lots and lots of brown and some burgundy on Skytread. But he wears it better, just in terms of the way the colors distributed and broken up. Then again, he turns into 1 vehicle as opposed to 2, so I don't know, maybe more of the budget went into the engineering and parts count on this guy as opposed to the paint. I don't know. And there he is with Duck Tank. And that is going to do it for Skytread. As I've said, I actually really like this guy. While I am harping quite a bit about the way they distributed his color, it's coming from a place of love, because I really do like this figure. And as I said, it is one of my favorites. I know I said Hound is my favorite deluxe, and he is in the sense that he turns into 1 vehicle, but like in terms of an overall package for deluxes, I feel like Skytread is definitely up there. He's a lot of fun. I really like that transformation. I like the combination. I like the fact that he's got the 2 separate alt modes. The only things that really kind of bum me out about him are the overabundance of brown and the fact that this doesn't really peg in super well in the the tank mode, which I know I could do some adjustments if I wanted to, but it's a minor nitpick, really. All things considered, I feel like Skytread is definitely worth getting, and he was the one I was looking forward to the most until I finally got him, and I was not disappointed. So what do you all think of Siege Skytread? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to comment down below. And while you're at it, also feel free to like or subscribe. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.